One C is trying to cancel the other C. And what does that do for the well-being of the fans? And what does that do to the well-being of the players? Before we get started, man, as always, this is sponsored by Aber Insurance and STHUjuice.com. Go to STHUjuice.com to get your Shut the Hell Up Juice apparel, to get your Fear apparel, to get your Petty Hawk apparel. I got some things selling out, so make sure you check the sizes. We may not have your size. We got to re-up. That's a good thing, though. My man Chris Gibson said, what you think of Trevor Lawrence quote? We're going to talk about that. We definitely going to talk about Trevor Lawrence and the quote that he had, man, because he said something that jumped out to me that I don't think a lot of people think about. So I'm gonna let more people join in. And hey yo, OG, what's good with you, baby? I see you out there applying pressure, man. But if you want to join in, man, just click the link in the description. This is via Zoom today. So everybody, I get as many people as I want. We're transitioning from Blog Talk Radio. I figure Zoom will be easier for folks because I know sometimes the switchboard on Blog Talk don't let folks in. It's not a pass code to get into this Zoom meeting. So if you just go in the description, when you come into the Facebook live feed, you should be able. If not, let me know and I'll get you in here. But yeah, man, without further ado, let's go ahead. We've been shooting the breeze for a little while. So look, this what I'll do. This what I'll do. Until I get all my normal analysts to come in here. I know Robert T. Green, he's shaking right now, so he's gonna try to make sure he could get in here. I know he got a lot of information when it comes to this subject, so I won't have to repeat myself. Let's go ahead and start with the NBA. Who should win the MVP? Should it be Bron? Should it be Giannis? Should it be Harden? Like, do we even care that Harden made it in the top three? Because we know it's between Giannis and Bron, correct? And when you look at LeBron James' numbers, man, them joints is impressive. Like, what are you, like 3 rebounds away from averaging a triple double? And everybody gonna say, yeah, 17 and his age and things like that. And he couldn't do it in the West. Now they're the number 1 seed in the West. So he averaged 25, 8, and 10 this year in 65 games played so far. Phenomenal year, man. 69% from the field is what he's shooting. That's the first time since 2014, 2015 that he shot under 50%. That year in Cleveland, he shot 48%. So Bron is a guy that's usually around, like 54%, 53%. Last year he was 51. But you look at a stretch from 2009, 2010 season, he went 50%, 51, 53, 56, 56. Then he dropped to 48, 52, 54, 54, 51, now 49 this year. He's attempting the most threes in his career. He's attempting 6.3 threes a game now. This year's, that's a career high. So, let me know who y'all think should win MVP. Lorenzo says Luka should win the MVP, should be in the MVP race as well. But between the three, it should be Bron. Yeah, I know I'm invisible in some parts, bro. I know, Ethan. I'm just, just the background, so I don't have to worry about like putting the green screen up and stuff. So yeah, it's gonna look funny. As long as you can hear my voice and see my head, we good. He said, man, you're invisible in some spots. But hold on. All right, so my man Robert T just showed up. So let me get him in the waiting room. See what my guy's talking about. Man, take on say Lakers in 5. What you mean Lakers in 5 versus who, Wicks? Giannis should be excluded from the MVP since they have Bron. Oh. So as far as so nobody in the East should get MVPs. What you saying, Zoe? Hey Rob, say something. See if I can hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you for some reason. Say something now. Oh, hold on. There we go. There we go. Never mind. I'm gonna unmute you.
You hear me?
Yep, I got you, bro. There we
Hey,
go.
how you doing?
I'm good, man. Was waiting on you, man, before I jumped into it. You know what I'm saying, as
It's all
far
good.
as what's going on, because I know, this your avenue, man. I know you got a lot to say from the playing standpoint and what they should do, what they should not do. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and educate the audience as you always do.
It's rough out here in these streets, ball hawk. And I say rough because the narratives again that people today have shown what unpaid labor looks like in the United States of America in an amount of billions. The reality is the majority of people that got an issue with the players that we are united. And kind of when you had certain players from certain schools like Trevor Lawrence jump in, say we want to play to try to hijack the fact of what the players are asking for in the first place. For a player like him or Justin Fields that are guaranteed $60 million essentially by next year. Um, Again, when their schools and their coaches, the leaders, if you will, have taken a cowardly stance, even when going back to when the man that was a assistant coach said the N word. You haven't heard Dabo Sweeney speak at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I said to you from the get go that the reality is in this actual country, the amount of unpaid labor pertaining to college athletics and high school athletics is unprecedented. And this thing has reached all the way to the top where you got Trevor Lawrence having his tweets be retweeted by the President of the United States. We want to play. The same people that are saying adults that we want to play are the same people telling these athletes, particularly African American majority, that they better stand and not take a knee. They telling them that literally they should be happy to basically get that so-called scholarship, which essentially is financial aid, which they were basically going to get regardless of the fact what school they went to, and to generate billions. So to watch the powers that be, ESPNs in the world, take a guy like Kylan Hill and then put out on social media about how he don't want to go home and say people get killed, KILT, for the people that pretend like he's getting an education, which he's not. That this young man don't even understand that even if he was to achieve his dream of playing in the National Football League, with the lack of knowledge that he has at this point right now, no matter how good he is talent-wise, he's going to be broke before he even gets started. And conferences like the ACC and the SEC predicate their actual business model off of that. When Nick Saban says people will be safer at Alabama than they would be at home, but you couldn't even protect Trevor Lawrence. I'm sorry, Tua Tagovailoa after basically one game of being out of surgery, and he didn't have an insurance policy. But you know, he want a majority of African American men to play a sport that's going to generate $2 billion in Alabama if they don't play, to come out there and do it when, again, 1% only going to go pro and the other 99% generating billions. There's no justifiable reason. Players continue in that we are united. When we want to play, got involved, these people that understand how this stuff works, chiming in to suppress and try to basically diminish the actual student athlete, if they want to call them that, in order to get where they need to be. But it's not going to work. And as I said before, I like to break news on your actual show. Now, again, you may not remember, but our conversations, I told you this day was coming. And when I say things, when I said this day is coming at 10, and one of these conferences was not going to play, people think I'm crazy. But when I'm the player's rep, I'm telling you exactly what they're looking for, what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that are on TV and the masses continue to think that their narratives that they try to spin is going to change the fact of where we headed now, they're going to continue to be sadly mistaken.
Yeah, that's real, bro. It's just one of the things that it's interesting to see the different analysts talk about the college football season, and you talk about old Greg from Alabama. What's your thoughts on what
Greg
old
McElroy.
Greg had to say?
Greg need to get some pom-poms, some Crimson Tide pom-poms and roll out, because the reality is the way he continued to 1 minute is talking about just like players last year making a decision to leave college and go play. Oh, I just want to play one more time with my peoples, one more time with my teammates. Not realizing economically these same athletes that's sitting here and putting their bodies on the line at risk, the same universities now are saying to them, oh, just go ahead and play. No protocols in place. I can say with 1,000% because I have access and knowledge of what's going on that when the Pac-12 and the Big Ten spoke out about the things that they needed specifically for health and safety, not just the financial component, but at the same time, none of those protocols were put in place. Zero. They was going to try to call the players bluff, and basically said things at one point. Wear a helmet. The helmet we're gonna acclimate the period, do the acclimation period longer. So essentially saying to the players that we are so dumb and that uneducated that if we put on a helmet and run around for 3 or 4 weeks when we have a game in less than a month, as football players, is in our best interest in health and safety wise that we're gonna run around without pads when we got a game in less than 30 days, and then you telling us about wearing this helmet, we won't get COVID. Just never forget, and I use that term all the time, never forget, 2 months ago, the same Big Ten was telling players to sign up for pledge waivers when they were actually waivers, giving up liability for their actual rights. And so at the same time, those same coaches were not on that actual field. There was no medical staff on that field. They were basically using these African-American athletes at large, for the most part, majority, as guinea pigs.
Yeah.
And that's what their trial and error. So now when the players say, hey, we need third-party testing, why would they not say third-party testing? It's not just COVID-19. There's at least 1,000 athletes still walking and breathing today knows that the NCAA that oversees universities and schools and coaches, that injuries have been misdiagnosed, undertreated, underinsured. And when we walk out of that school and that stuff is not documented, they will say it never happened. And that's the same exact thing that these coaches in universities want these players to do without understanding it. Sign this pledge, this legal document waiver, giving them all rights and responsibilities. So when most people think it's about COVID-19, when the players said their voices will be heard, it meant what they said. What the schools really don't want to have happen is that you push this forward, and no different in 2016 with Missouri, if you don't basically start to respect and make adequate changes to the players and the responses that they want, when you come up to Saturday morning at the TV advertising, college game day, and all these people that show up, the money you spent to come in, and they tell you an hour before kickoff, we not playing, it's over. And I'm here to tell you as a player's rep, that's exactly what's going to happen. So like I said, BallHawk, you're my witness. I don't say things on your show that's not going to happen.
That's a fact.
So at the end of the day, if you basically want to try these kids and these parents and you want to basically call their bluff, go ahead and try to get them to go out there and play. Go out there and try to basically skip past the health concerns. You're going to be sadly mistaken. And all the money that the NCAA is going to have to pay back from TV advertising, marketing, gambling, and the list goes on and on and on, it will never be the same. So when I say pay the players, no pay, no play, you're asking young, developing athletes, I'm not calling them students, because again, Kylan Hill proved that again today. Before you hit tweet and hit send, you said kilt. And ESPN felt like putting that out there. And again, they do that once again to disparage the African-American athlete. It amazed me how many Caucasian media was trying to insinuate that without football, all of us black athletes would be in jail and basically on drugs and drinking, when they fail to realize without these African-American athletes, uneducated ones, uninformed ones, that they pay your bills. Kylan Hill and the rest of these guys. Didn't Trevor kind of allude to that too?
Trevor kind of alluded in his statement too.
Yes, he did. So what I'm saying is this was a concerted effort. Trevor Lawrence had the battery pack put in by the guy who didn't want to accept responsibility for his actions, and Dabble Sweeney, all the way up to the person in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, retweeting, we want to play. You want to play? We want to play. Pay the players. No pay, no play. Take care of their health and safety concerns. Take care of their insurance, real insurance. You talking about $1 billion industry when they talk about now all of a sudden the presidents and the schools were very concerned about their health and safety. Well, if that's the case, then why did the MAC cancel their seasons while others are saying we can play?
Yeah.
Again, the amount of hypocrisy about what's really going on, always has gone on, is now the players realizing, like, you don't care anything about us. You care about what we can do for you.
Yeah.
You got a group of kids coming out next year that's going to basically replace the guys from this year. We can't miss out on these hundreds of millions and billions of dollars for this unpaid, cheap
So
labor.
so what happens to, Lorenzo, shout out to Lorenzo Powell. He had a question, said, what's going to happen to the redshirt freshmen and sophomores or juniors if they cancel the season? Are they still going to be eligible for next year draft, or will this count against their redshirt year? Like, what happens? Is this just a wash?
So many people misunderstand how the draft actually works. And I'll use Nick Bosa as an example.
Okay.
Nick Bosa, in his freshman year, only played on third downs, not that much at all. That's the brother of Joey Bosa. His father's in the league as well.
Yeah.
Same thing his sophomore year. Then his junior year, he got hurt. A big-time injury against the TCU. The man left school, withdrew, because the school was trying to convince him to stay, rehab there, come back, get ready for the end of the actual year, bowl game, where to get this hat and this T-shirt.
Yep.
Nick Bosa left school, got healthy, got surgery, trained, and became the second pick in the NFL draft. He was also a Pro Bowler as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the only player that is shown, and it's been many. You go no further than a guy like Mitch Trubisky. His college career lasted about maybe 9 games as a starter total. Had a team move up a spot to draft him number 2 overall for the Chicago Bears. The NFL could care less about you playing 35, 40 games in college. And I keep trying to teach these athletes that. Coaches like Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, Ed Orgeron now with the statement that Joe Burrow made yesterday talking about he would need to get a job. Well, Joe Burrow should get a job because he's older than Lamar Jackson. He was teammates with Michael Thomas. He was teammates with Ezekiel Elliott. The reality is these coaches continue to make it seem like they're doing a great coaching job when there's never been a JV, junior varsity, beat a varsity team. So you do not have to have players who's trying to get to the National Football League play X amount of games. What you have to have is the right tape. You have to have the right health. They have to have the right height, weight, body comparison, and speed, because the NFL model is they want cheap labor and they want healthy labor. And look no further than a guy who used to play for Clemson named Cordell Tankersley. I was looking at this the other day. If guys don't remember him, he was just there in 2017. Great corner. Oh, yeah, this great. Cordell got released from Miami the other day. What became aware to me is that I looked at his age. You have any idea what his age is, Ahmad?
Mm-mm.
He played for Dabo. Take a guess. Not on the second contract either.
What, like?
He's 27.
Oh my God.
That mean that man was playing corner against college kids at 23, 24.
God.
And so when you talking about winning national championships, Dabo Swinney has been the master of getting grown men to give up millions for T-shirts and pizza.
T-shirts.
And pizza. Don't forget the pizza party.
Pizza party.
The man
Chuck E. Cheese coming out.
Yeah, the man that says he don't want players to get paid, but yet he had a trademark of Dabo Swinney since 2009.
So my man Marvelous said in the chat, he said that basically he answered Renzo's question. He said the players get an extra season. They would not be counted towards scholarship equivalency next year. Oh,
again, scholarship equivalency. They put that in the Pac-12. I mean, in the We Are United, the NCAA back that, because once again, you don't realize something. It's financial aid. It's just a word. As long as because your parents still gonna fill out that paperwork the next year, regardless, and it's still gonna be based off their income, regardless. So when they say how's it gonna be impacted, well, how's your parents' financial aid? And I'll give you the answer to the question. So the fact is, it's not like they over there sitting there putting money to the side. Again, when they're gonna get that money from the next shoe company, the next apparel company is gonna give them that money for that year. I think right now Ohio State is still on a 15-year deal with Nike for $252 million.
Damn.
So, yeah, and Michigan's under theirs for like 173. So when I put the numbers out the other day, which people don't kind of overlook, about a year ago, the Big Ten made $757 million, while the NCAA brought in $1.18 billion. Let's not forget that these institutions are 501c3 not-for-profit organizations.
Not-for-profit organizations.
Like the NFL was until 2014. And the only reason why they continue to be able to get away with this is because these same kids in the economic and social standings, like the media try to change the narrative today, that without football, you guys won't be there. So as I said to Trevor Lawrence and those are making that point, well, if you paid Kyler Hill for what he does and you pay these other players, they can move out of those neighborhoods, now wouldn't they? So once again, don't try to basically make a situation or make a story about something you do not understand, you're not qualified to speak on. And there's too many people that's getting paid by certain networks right now that are doing this all day, every day. They are skipping over the main thing. We want to play. Oh, these kids want to play. But when a kid want to go to the pros, you say he quit on his team.
Yep.
Oh, we want to play. We want to play. But when a kid says he want to opt out, he's a quitter. Oh, we want to play. We want to play. When a kid says he want to get paid, oh, what does he know about getting paid? He don't understand economics. Well, that's because of the school he goes to.
I got folks who say that you should honor your commitment. So if you sign a scholarship for 4 years, you should stay for all 4 years. It's just
there's no scholarship for 4 years though. Yeah. That's the first point. Educate these people.
Yeah,
it's 1 year renewal.
Yeah,
exactly. And we know coaches do things like, for example, when he want to take it financially to give it to somebody else, he tosses the ball right 6 times in a row so the defense can hit you 6-7 times and basically abuse you. So now you decide you don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, you got to go quit. Retire.
You transfer. Right. But they don't tell you that. So again, there's so many people that literally don't understand how this stuff works, but on the side of watching, again, people that generate billions and say they're supposed to honor things. These coaches take a job. There's 700 schools that are out there. 650 coaches are using each one of these kids and his families to move up in the sports world and the coaching professional ranks.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I wouldn't be myself if we didn't talk about a dude that I respect so much for his athletic prowess and what he did as a corner. But Dion Sanders, that statement he made, how the game don't care about if you opt out, it's gonna continue to move. Like, is he that far removed from the game? Like, has his mind not evolved? Like, he's around youngsters too.
Institutionalization is real. What you don't realize in the sports right now, when you're talking about these players are coming back and playing and basically now saying whether they're in a bubble. Remember, if they're in a bubble but they're not getting paid, that means they're being incarcerated. That means you're now putting them in a place where they cannot leave.
Nope.
They have to perform labor. They have to eat when they told to eat, walk when they told to walk, generate revenue, and entertain those that they're going to be there. While everybody else stays away because it's too dangerous for them. That's what incarceration is. You can try to spin it all you want to. Again, you told players to leave their apartments. You got coaches saying they're going to be safer here. Well, they so much safer at Alabama's campus and Michigan's campus. Why wasn't you there 2 months ago when you beckoned these players to volunteer to show up by themselves with no one else amongst themselves?
You make it too much sense.
The saying, man, that was 2 months ago. In March, they was about to put the players on the basketball court for March Madness, and literally without any fans. And the pandemic was still going on then. They was going to do that for money. And then it stopped because somebody I know, he calls himself the players rep, said, if you do that, you're going to find out what liability really look like.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, just like these coaches in these schools, if you put these kids out there and you don't have all these protocols in place, you're not doing what you say you're supposed to do, which they have not, like I said, based off the demand from the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, which is why we got to the point where we are today. To have these coaches once again go out and blatantly tell bold-faced lies to the media and have the media regurgitate them for a perfect example, Michigan says, oh, we have the perfect situation. Oh, do you really now? What's the perfect situation? Please explain to us.
Oh, do you really?
The consumers, what is the perfect situation?
Yeah.
Before you retweet that.
Yeah.
I know what the situation is, which is why the Big Ten did what they did. Is not a coincidence or a shocker that the two schools that wanted to play was Nebraska and Iowa, found guilty of racism and bullying over the last 2 decades, because they have shown their lack of care for those who this virus would affect the most. And once again, we're talking about these young men and their families taking all the risk. And I'm a business person. So when I talk about risk versus reward, when someone says, well, the guy is going to they're not going to get a chance to go to the league. 1% go into the league. I can literally, if I wanted to, go out there and look at every player on the actual draft of 2021, and I pretty much with 95% can tell you he's going to get drafted and not.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So for those that's making it, but the other 99% that they wanted to go out there and risk, who won't be playing after this year, who that communications degree won't help someone like a Kylan Hill that's talking about kilt.
Hey man, get off that man for using slang, man.
No, you know why? You know why? Because when he did what he did pertaining to the flag, and he took the flag down, the Confederate flag.
Yeah.
People were going at his neck saying, "Oh, he should stay in his lane. He should do this and do that." Then the same people turn around and put it out there and use the fact that he literally wants to play because he realizes he feels like that without football, he's never going to make it.
Yeah.
Even with the so-called education he's getting. So when he hit that send button, he didn't realize that saying you getting killed doesn't basically help solidify the fact that you're getting the education that you want everybody to believe that you're getting.
Yeah.
It makes you look and tells everybody what we always know, that these players will give up their left and right leg, which the industry always counting on to try to get where they feel like they're going to be.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. They always
Nobody told
count on
Colin
players
the
to
NFL,
give up everything and anything and everything to play. And when players started opting out,
injuries, right?
Yeah.
Misdiagnosing injuries.
Yep.
So when players opted out, they didn't tell you that the billions that they made.
Oh, there you go.
So an insurance policy, for example, a PTD, permanent disability policy, which means you never play sports again, for someone that's projected to be a first-round pick, if you offer me, you say, "Oh, $2 million." A guy named Earl LeGrand got injured from Rutgers some years ago. He ended up in wheelchair.
In a wheelchair, yeah.
If you can't play sports, that $2 million goes out the window like almost in less than a year when you got injuries like that.
Yep.
But the fact of the matter is, here's the real kicker. That $2 million policy is like $4,000. So when players hear, "Oh, they're going to give me $2 million in insurance," they don't even know how that works. That's a drop in the bucket.
Explain how that works. Okay,
so again, one, insurance is an individual-based right. So that means, again, if you want to go Allstate, Progressive, no one can tell you, "Hey, BallHawk, you got to use this one." If they do, they violate their rights. Two, they have to have an actual license to actually administer or talk about the level of insurance that you want. Now, up to like a couple years ago, literally a year ago, NCAA were basically out there using their actual people in all the different schools to administer insurance policies without anybody actually having a license, which is illegal, by the way.
Yeah.
And there's several cases of athletes that we've worked with and know that literally these schools told them things that was not true, going all the way back to Marquise Lee, where the school said to an insurance advisor, "Oh, we'll take care of it." Again, not licensed. They helped them fill out the paperwork. Once the paperwork is filled out, he tried to collect on the claim. The insurance provider says, "No, you're not getting paid." And then there was a lawsuit. Why was that? Well, the school was the one that filled out the documentation with him and tried to basically do it where it was beneficial to the school. And then now he's not going to collect on the actual payment of the insurance he thought he was getting to protect himself. So even when some of these policies that they get to try to convince kids to stay in school, a lot of these policies that they get in and that they sign up for are never going to pay out. The school knows that because they're the one that got someone hired now to do that. So when players say on their demands, "We want third-party COVID-19," it's not just third-party COVID-19 testing. It's everything third-party. These kids are well aware about how the NCAA operates pertaining to their health and safety, their injuries. Because again, like I said before, you played in the NCAA, you got injuries. I guarantee Virginia didn't document them all. I got them. When they stick you in the arm with that cortisone, they don't tell you that it's a steroid. They're going to tear your muscles apart. So now when you're getting shot up left and right, and they're not documented, when you try to go to the NFL and they do their evaluation, they say, "Oh, you're not going to play that long because your body is degenerating in that scenario." So all of a sudden now, you like, what happened?
Yeah.
You saying to the school, like, "I didn't know this," and then we have issues. So as far as insurance is concerned, the best insurance that these players can have at this point with the unknown is to opt out. That's the best insurance you can get to protect your future interests. If you
Yeah.
go out there right now and play, and all of a sudden you do get COVID, Trevor Lawrence, the NCAA can say to you, you're going to miss 4 games, but we want to play.
Mm-hmm.
You have no parameters. You have no guidance, no direction about anything. And you want these players to step out there and take all the risk.
Mm-hmm.
There's no representation. There's no knowledge of what's really going on at that level. But you got these kids saying, we want to play. Play with what? Play how? What's the protocols? They don't have any. And at the end of the day, this is why we are where we are right now. You couldn't get away with this in the MLB, NHL, WNBA, the Major League Baseball. All of those people had less time than the NCAA did, because the NCAA was the first crack at it with the NBA in March.
Yeah.
And now we here again, no further than we were back on March the 2nd when March Madness was canceled.
So let's double back right quick, because my man Teray, for all, shout out to Teray. Teray always, I figured Teray would agree with what, well, he said Dion's statement was true. He said, not that I agree, but his statement was correct. And Dion stated, for the folks who don't know, he was talking about players opting out. And he said, all players opting out in all sports, please believe, in caps, the game will go on without you, Sanders said on Twitter. This is a business, and don't you ever forget that. There's no one that's bigger than the game itself. Only the ref, umps, and officials are that important that you can't play without them, not you. Hashtag truth. I disagree. That's not true to me. If the players don't show up, the game can't go on.
You're right.
I don't
Look who's speaking on that. It's not Darrelle Revis. He got his money out there. He made his money.
So do you think this? I know this is more of a rhetorical question, but this is more of Dion understanding that no season, no payment from who he with, NFL Network or CBS? Which one is he with now? He with one of them.
NFL Network.
NFL Network. So no football, no analysts is getting paid. No football. Podcast ain't got nobody to interview. You know what I'm saying? Like all media is affected. But you don't see me out here saying, yo, y'all need to play. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And in this situation, Dion somebody to me, that ain't right. If players the game ain't going to move on if players all band together so they're not going to play. You might have some crabs that cross the picket fence and put themselves at risk. But, yeah, Dion is whack for that. That was trash.
We're talking about a man that's 50 years old that played a great amount of football at one point. We're talking about economic and social standings in a society and a game that only over the last 3 to 5 years, and I happen to represent one of the highest rated athletes ever in the history of high school football going through college. So I can speak to this from the whole name, image, and likeness thing, from going through the whole process, from top to bottom, watching how I know how every coach came and operated and tried to pitch to him and his mom. Know that. So the fact of the matter is that wasn't going on when Dion was going on. And what Dion is doing now, once again, and a lot of those guys out there, and I've always had a problem with older men want to have secret meetings behind closed doors with 17 to 20-year-olds. That tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
When you talk about conferences that are billions, you don't want them to have representation legally, which is what the Pac-12 was trying to keep the players from getting lawyers.
Yeah.
We're trying to get them to sign up things they don't understand and thought it was going to fly. He's right to the point where, you can opt out and the game will move on. But the reality is that is fine. The game moves on from everybody.
Yeah, it moves on for anybody ever try to hold out for a contract.
Now, exactly. So the same way he said that, the same way I teach younger players, don't worry about what Dion say. Don't worry about what Joe Klatt say. Don't worry about what Greg McElroy says.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is go take care of your business and your family and let that be what guides you. Not
they worry about their bottom line. That's what's so amazing about this whole situation. Like, Dion, we know you worry about your bottom line, but a person like you with this much influence that don't need to be said in this climate. It really don't, because it's not about the game can move on without you. And if it was a fifth, if a player don't play, if an official don't show up, we all understand it's a if that has to come into play. My man Lungs joining us, but that's not the time, Dion. Like, Dion, come on, man, you got too much influence to take that route, in my opinion. And let me see if get my man Lungs foot up here, man. Let me unmute him. Don't want to let me unmute him. There we go. There you go. What's up, Lons?
Don't play professional, don't show up. We all understand it's an if that has to come into play. My man Lungs joining us, but that's not the time, Dion. Like Dion, come on, man. You got too much influence to take.
Turn your Facebook down.
Route, in my opinion. And let me see if my man Lungs put up here, man. Let me unmute him.
Turn your Facebook down, Lons.
You hear me, Hawk?
Yeah, turn your Facebook down so it won't be an echo. There, you good.
I cut it off.
What's up, bro?
Nothing much, bro. Hey, man, y'all doing a great job, man. I just wanted to join just to be a part of what y'all doing. I like what y'all talking about.
So, yo, before Lons get started, people got to realize who this dude is. To me, this is my OG, my rookie year in Colorado. I just shared a video today, my first ever pick with the Crush versus Georgia, and he was number 3. He was on the field trying to celebrate with the young pup, but the young pup was so looking for